because I see a lot of you taking photos and videos, what the correct hashtags are. And with that, so we're just waiting for our cast to get ready to come up here. We're going to be kicking things off, so thank you so much. And by the way, woo, excited. You liked it, huh? Okay, let me ask you a question. Bumblebee or Rise of the Beast? Tough question. Tough question. What do you think? I'm putting you on the spot. It's different, right? You're standing up on this one. Oh. Don't worry, we only have like about 50 people from Paramount here. Don't worry about it. No pressure. I'm joking.
Rise of the Beast, and this is why.
Why?
Beast Wars for life.
Wow, look at you. Beast Wars for life. How about that? And also they brought in Unicron too, which is pretty badass, right? Yes, exactly. Okay. All right, guys. Kick back, relax, and we'll start things in a few minutes' time. Thank you so much. All right. Are you guys ready? Transformers, Rise of the Beast. Press conference here. Now here's some housekeeping notes. Of course, we're going to ask you to raise your hand if you have a question. We're going to bring a mic to you. Say your media agency or outlet that you're with before you ask the question. And then just keep Transformers. So ladies and gentlemen, let's kick things off with Transformers, Rise of the Beast.
You want it? Come and get it.
Please welcome our director, Stephen Capel Jr., the cast, Anthony Ramos, Dominic Fishback, Toby Enrique, and producer, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. What's up, guys? Welcome to Singapore. How are you? Anthony, how are you? Dominique? Toby, how are you, my friend? Good, how are you doing? And Lorenzo. Hello, sir, how are you? Okay, so, how you guys liking Singapore thus far?
Woo, it's amazing. Oh, sorry.
We love it. Immaculate.
Yeah, indeed.
It's great. I just got here.
You did this morning.
Yeah.
You saw the airport then?
Yes, from the airport.
It's pretty nice, right?
The airport's great.
It's great, right?
Yeah, it's like an amazing mall.
Yeah, I went on a tour. It was amazing. You guys' culture and everything here is beautiful. So yes, I love
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Let's get into some of the questions here because I know a lot of the media here from around the world have some questions for you guys because we're kicking the global tour right off here in Singapore. So Lorenzo, as the producer of the Transformers movies, what aspect of this latest installment are you most enthusiastic about?
Steven had a great vision for this movie, and thankfully, what's so great about the movie is it has a ton of heart, but it also has the spectacle that you want to expect from a big Transformers movie. So I'm really happy at people's reaction to the characters, because the characters are really fleshed out, and we got some great actors right here who really kill it.
Indeed, absolutely. All right, Steven, now being a passionate Transformers fan, what element of this movie excited you the most?
I think it was creating the Maximals in the Beast Wars, like having the ability. Oh yeah, thank you. We spent a lot of time on the designs, you know, and to be able to like leave a print in a franchise and say, okay, we're taking the Beast Wars, these Maximals that everyone loved, and now bringing them to live action for the first time. So really diving deep into their design, really diving deep into their personalities, and even, of course, their like ability and traits when they're fighting and their choreography. So it probably was my favorite part. And then we have a special guest, which is like Mirage, which I feel like is a real new stamp, and I was able to create something new with Mirage and his personality.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah. All right, Anthony, now we heard that you had a 2-week window to actually learn how to drive before the film. How was that like for a crash course?
No, I had a 2-week window to get my license, but I had been taking lessons for like a few months. But yeah, no, I went back to New York after we quarantined, and then for 14 days or whatever it was, right? So, and then we did a few rehearsals, and I went back to New York for like 2 weeks, and I was like, yo, I have this much time to try. So I got like the last appointment at the DMV in Brooklyn to get my license, and I passed in my mom's car. So shout out to my mom. Thanks.
All right, Mom. Give
I didn't drive one.
All right, Toby, your song "On My Soul" is included into the movie's official soundtrack. Yes, indeed. It's an awesome song, man. Awesome. How does it feel to incorporate your music into your acting career?
It feels immaculate. It feels even more immaculate that I was able to do it with this franchise and with one of the top 5 dead or alive, Nas. So, yeah, it was incredible to have both these two worlds meet and to be a part of, you know what I'm saying, 2 incredible legacies.
Indeed, indeed. Now, Dominique, can you share with us your experience of filming at an exciting location such as Peru and Brooklyn? Particularly considering that Brooklyn's where you grew up from, right?
Yes, I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised, and Anthony is as well. And it was amazing because Anthony and I used to meet before the movie, before we even knew about it, and say, man, we got to do something together. We got to do something real Brooklyn and real epic. And we had no idea that it would be Transformers. So we're very excited about that.
Awesome. All right. All right, so let's open up to the floor here with questions. Yes, we got a gentleman right there, Beast Wars fan. Well, let's get a mic to you.
Hi, my name's Sean Ricker from KISS 92 FM, the radio station here. My question is to Anthony. You have become the first person in live-action Transformers franchise to wear the exosuit.
That's a trick question.
So, could you just
Very trick question.
could you just run through with us how you felt when you first found out?
How should I answer that, Steven? Director?
It's all on you. How did it feel?
It felt great. It feels great.
That's all I needed. Thank you.
No. It's legendary, man. You know, we don't get to see the humans get into action ever. So, and now we do, in a real way.
Yeah.
Anthony, I got to ask you, was that suit actually the exosuit, or was it more of a leotard with dots on it? Ah.
It was 100% a leotard with dots on it. Yeah. Absolutely. Foam. It was not heavy, and it was great. It was very comfortable.
I mean, just as a fan alone, watching that happen, seeing the experience between the humans and the Transformers on its own. The last time I saw that was the 1986 movie, the G1 movie. To see that happen here today, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks, Steven.
Awesome moment. Next question.
I love it.
All right, I'm going to get to some questions here. All right, so, Steven, in this film, you stayed away from the Decepticons. What was the reasoning behind that choice?
To be honest, we did have one scene with a Decepticon. It would probably be in our deleted scenes. All right, Lorenzo? Yeah, we'll have it in deleted scenes.
Yeah.
We had a Decepticon in the film. Ultimately, we had a lot of new characters, new factions. I felt like throughout the years, we've seen a lot of Decepticons. I love the Decepticon. I literally call my car Decepticon, you know, my personal ride. So we wanted to just do something different. So we're introducing the Terracons, which are new villains. We sprinkle the Predacons throughout, no spoilers. And we have the Autobots and we have the Maximals. At a certain point, it became like these are some really strong factions, and I want to make sure they got the right amount of screen time, you know, and character work. So we didn't want to go too deep. And again, Decepticon is something we've seen before, so we just wanted to, you know, introduce something new. Yeah.
Sounds good. Next question. Any other Yes. Joe Kim.
Hey everyone, it's Joachim Gomez from 987 Singapore, radio station as well. My question is directed to you, Toby, from a music standpoint. Linkin Park, a huge part of the Transformers movies in the late 2000s. With your involvement now, does it mean we'll have more songs from you in potential future films? And a fun one. A fun one. Come on. Could you lead us all in a breathing exercise? Thank you very much.
I told them. I think it does mean that we'll have. Come on, Lorenzo. Let's not have me hog all the questions. Lorenzo can answer that as well. Yeah, but I think it does mean that. And I found out on the set of. Do people know it's a video? Yeah, there's gonna be a video for On My Soul as well. Yeah. On the set of the video, I found out that outside of Linkin Park, I'm the only one to have. Hey, come on.
An original song.
An original
That's
song
right.
in the Transformers franchise. So I was like, oh, wow, that's incredible. So I think so. And the breathing exercise, we can start after the, after the session.
Hey, Toby, on that, did you know where your song was going to be placed in the film?
Absolutely not.
Really?
The song really came from an idea that Steven had. And once Steven kind of like told me what he was thinking, I put my little creativity around his thoughts, and he's like, hey, what you think about Nas or another person getting on the song? And I was like, oh yeah, if it's possible. Yeah, I don't really know Nas like that. That ain't a number that I could just pick up and call. But, fortunately, Steven is a very popular director. Yeah, he has a lot of very cool friends. So he was able to just have Nas listen to it. And fortunately enough, Nas was interested, and it became a monumental moment in history.
And just to speak on that just a little bit, like I think what we wanted to try to do differently, you can hear the track as it is now. I can hear it in the background. I love it. It's my song.
Yeah,
but I think a big part of it was making sure it also felt like score.
Yeah.
So when you watch it in the film, like Toby really paid attention to that. I showed him the sequence where they're all finally working together, like to the phrase "To All Are One." I show you guys seen the trailer with the really long take. You know, Toby's track comes in that right exact moment, and it just felt like it had this aggression to it. So he kind of was a composer at the moment while creating it, because he produced the track and everything like that. So he truly blessed us with a special track, but I just wanted to get that out there. Like some composing skills in there. So you have a future. You have a future.
Thank you. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed. Dominic, I got a question for you here. Jumping into a franchise this big, were you nervous when you were casting this?
You know, I watched the first movie when I was younger, and I watched and said, man, I want to do something like that. I never thought it would be Transformers. So I always prepped myself as when I get into the room, I'm able to, like, show up. Like, I care about the craft so much that when the opportunity comes, I'm not going to play scared. I'm just ready to do it. And I got to do it with supportive people like Steven and Anthony. And even when I first talked to Steven about it, I said, you know, I'm the type of actor, I come from theater, I'm going to have notes and ideas. And he's like, you could give me your notes at 2 o'clock in the morning. And he meant it. And I gave notes, and I sat with the writers, and we talked about things. And it wasn't that my notes had to be in the script. It was just the ability to talk about it and be heard was really special.
All right. Any questions? Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I'm Dreama from Asia One Singapore. Anthony, you need to eat durians, remember?
Yeah. Didn't we talk?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that's right.
They're not letting me bring you durians, so you have to go procure some on your own.
I'm going to get some later.
Sure. All right, so this one's for Anthony and Dominique. Since you two are New York natives, what scene or aspect or monument were you most proud of seeing in the film that, like, relates to your heritage and where you're from?
I'll just talk about, it wasn't so much seeing something for me, but it was the fact that Anthony and I both got to shout out the neighborhoods that we come from. I'm from East New York, Brooklyn, and he's from Bushwick, and so Steven let us kind of pay homage to the place and the area that we come from.
For me, it's the big car chase scene in the beginning of the film is shot on the Williamsburg Bridge, which is a bridge that connects Lower Manhattan and Brooklyn. And that bridge, I used to take the train almost every day on that bridge to school. That bridge is legendary for me. And even when we were talking, me and Steven, one of our first conversations, I was sending Steven like photos of like different places. Yo, you could shoot here, you could shoot here. I think I even did I text you a couple bridges?
Because I was asking like Brooklyn Bridge versus Williamsburg Bridge versus Manhattan. And
yeah.
You're like, oh,
Williamsburg Bridge. I was like, shoot, and so that for me was crazy to see a scene like that be shot on the Williamsburg Bridge, a bridge that, you know, is you know, I'm so feel connected to because I've just been walking that bridge, taking the train over that bridge, driving. Well, I wasn't driving over that bridge. Somebody else.
You've been driven over that
driven
bridge.
over that bridge. Yeah. So yeah, that was special.
Speaking of the bridge, of course, that was the first time we see you with Mirage, right? Now, you guys have an amazing chemistry in this film. Now, I know it's probably not easy to do that because I don't think Pete Davidson was there, was he? Or no? How did you create that chemistry? Because it just was so natural on screen.
I mean, shout out to Pete Davidson, you know? I mean, I was kind of just doing it. You know, he had to do the scenes to me, like kind of to my reactions and things like that. And, you know, so, you know, the VFX team is amazing. And, you know, the way they carved out Mirage and Steven, the way, you know, his vision and mapping that out and what it is, even down to the fist bump where he's like, all right, come on, just a little more. Come on. You know, moments like that, you know, that creates the connection between the characters. And I just wasn't there when I was shooting, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, so like of course, the Transformers are added afterwards, and so Pete Davidson got a chance to see the scenes and live in the scenes a little bit and see Anthony Ramos and how he was performing it. But he was developing Mirage. He wanted to pay homage to 90s characters. So there's a little bit of like Jim Carrey-esque moments, Adam Sandler-esque moments. He wanted to embody what the 90s really felt like, and he brought that to the level of comedy in this film. And so that just created a unique energy, you know what I mean? Like, he reminded me of, like, The Mask, if you guys ever seen that movie with Jim Carrey or other old films in the 90s, because he was trying to embody that and work off of Anthony's, you know, sternness and innocent look, because he never seen a talking robot before.
Awesome. Fantastic. Any questions here in the audience? Yes.
No, it was you who had your hands up. Yeah. You just got to stand up. Yeah.
Hi, welcome to Singapore. I'm Tina from U Weekly Singapore. So my question is, this movie has been quoted as it's a prequel, it's a sequel, and it's a reboot. I think each term carries a different expectation and pressure. So for the director and for the actors, if you wish to contribute, is that which is the heaviest term to carry and which is the lightest for you?
Oh my God, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's a sequel.
There you go. There you go, Lorenzo.
I mean, you know, if you look at it from a timeline point of view, it follows Bumblebee. So, but it is a prequel in that it's before all the previous movies. So it sort of exists in its own way. What I don't think it is a reboot. Because it's still our characters. One of the things that Steven brought to the table right from the beginning, which was so great, was the idea that when we meet Optimus Prime, he's different than what we think of him. And we're watching him grow up, if you would, as a leader. And for me, that was one of the most exciting parts of the movie and what was interesting was watching it with audiences, and at first they were uncomfortable a little bit, like, wait, that's not exactly the Optimus. He should like humans, you know? So I think it gives the movie a really interesting point of view, and therefore it stands alone in that way.
Exactly. I feel like the most pressure is probably following, if you were asking the pressure, like the sequel act. Because Bumblebee was really enjoyable. Like, it was very intimate. You were able to connect to the characters again. And now you go, now Optimus Prime is there. And now the Maximals are there. How are people going to feel about them? I remember everybody walking away from Bumblebee, connecting more with him. And I want to do the same with Optimus Prime, but something slightly different. And so the pressure becomes, all right, Paramount, Hasbro, Lorenzo, Peter Cullen was huge, which is like, hey, we're going to push these characters a different route. Someone you've played with and some, you know, you guys have been with for years. And that it's pressure because you're dealing with the fans, right? You don't want to push too much because then all the fans turn it off. You got to follow like a strict sort of like, all right, this is what the fans want. And so that's where the pressure falls into place, is trying to balance that, what you guys want, what I want as a fan, but also what we have to challenge, you know, internally for our characters.
All right. Any questions? Yes.
I'm from Japan.
I'm from A-Leaf.
I'm movie introduced TikToker in Japan で、監督にスティーブン監督に質問なんですけども、僕はビーストウォーズトランスフォーマー大好きで、この映画たくさん動物が出てきたと思うんですけど、僕はすごくこの映画楽しかったんですけど、あえて一体動物を追加するとしたら何ですか?
Sorry, translation.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Thank you. I was like, all right, challenge accepted, baby. Let's go. All right. I almost took the glasses off. I was looking at you like this. All right.
Are you ready? Come on, man.
About to guess.
Yeah, Brooklyn versus Japan. Yeah, so this is a question for Steven. I'm a huge fan growing up. Beast Wars an original animation series of Transformers and everything. But if you were to direct this series, and what kind of like animal that you want to turn into, Transformer, one of the Transformers?
What
Any animal you want.
From Beast Wars?
No,
from
no.
my
Like,
own?
Not if you could pick any animal.
Oh, from my own?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Oh, my God.
Like, if you could think of any animal in the world.
Yeah. No, I have
a chihuahua?
I legit have like my two favorite. Like, if I were to be I would love to fly. You know what I mean? So that's my thing. And the Air Rangers in this movie. And then my wife always says I look like Primal. You know what I mean?
She said you look like Primal?
I move around the house like Primal. You know, I open the fridge like Optimus Primal. Like, I just got his traits. And so he's a little bit better than me. But I love Optimus Primal. If I had a new animal to bring to the table, like as a fan of Beast Wars. So you said you're a fan of Beast Wars. There's a really interesting character. I would change his whole like demeanor in a way, and this is going to sound really weird for people who don't know Beast Wars, but there was a character named Rat-a-tat-tat that was in there. I know, laugh, please do. It's a weird name. And it's goofy, but I feel like there's something there with him that I would love to like I had ideas about him even in this film, like how to utilize him, because his character had like really cool twists and turns like throughout the whole entire franchise. And if there was a way to bring him in and really like light him up in a different way, so that's another challenge than it is like my favorite animal, but more so it's just like him as a character in Beast Wars. Like how would that transfer over to a live action film? You know, this kind of like Snakey-esque character who had his like lisp and everything else. Like, it was just an interesting character. I've never seen the Transformers before. Sorry, it was nothing crazy. Just
Great question.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. An amazing answer.
Yes, Sean.
Okay, on that note, instead of just animals alone, out of all, and this is for everybody, out of all the Transformers that you know of, who's your favorite and why?
I'll go first. Mirage. Mirage in this one, I know everybody else probably want to say Mirage, just because I was able to like really dive into his character and bring something totally new and fresh to like a voice to the franchise. And I feel like me and Pete Davidson really like cracked that. So like leaving this is Mirage. Before this, it was Optimus Prime. Don't tell Peter Cullen that. I love Peter Cullen. But yeah, Mirage.
Well, for me, it was Cheetor growing up. So, because he was just like the coolest one out of all of them. You know what I'm saying? He had the best lines. He had the best, like, he just had everything. He was just the coolest one. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was Cheetor, and it is still Cheetor.
Oh, don't let mine is Bumblebee. I think from the first movie, and then there's such a sensitivity, and everybody loves him, and so it hasn't changed for me.
Yeah, mine's is Primal because he's a beast. Yeah, very simple. And he looks like, yeah, I know, crazy.
I'm going to say, I don't know that this is my favorite character, but it's the one I miss that we used very early in the first movie, Ironhide. And I loved how he was so basic. He just wanted to shoot his guns. You know, it's his only desire in life. When can we shoot? So he always captured my imagination.
For me, it's Rhinox.
Oh, Rhinox.
And
Yeah.
why?
From Beast Wars or our film?
Honestly,
That's a trick question.
both. This was really nice. From the series itself, it's just that whole big brother attitude as well. It's like the second in command. And in this, you could see him, even though the main characters were doing their thing and all that, Rhinox was in the back holding it down.
Always protecting Primal. Yep, that's very true.
Next question. Yes, in the blue pants. See the mic over to you.
Hi, I'm Lynn from Manila, Philippines. So I just want to know, I'm a Gen Xer. So I was born in the 70s, raised in the 80s. I want to know, where are we going with the crossover, if I can just say it. I can. Okay, with the crossover of G.I. Joe and Transformers. So we all saw the end credit. I hope this is not, well, this interview would come out after or before. Anyway, so where are we going?
Spoiler alert.
I don't know where. Yeah, okay,
spoiler, super.
Spoiler. But where are we going? And what can you say about the development between a possible crossover with Transformers and G.I. Joe?
You're asking me. You know what? What's interesting is we have debated it for a long time. And there was never the occasion where it felt like a natural thing to try to evolve into. It always felt like, yeah, that's a cool idea, but it's feeling like you're forcing it. Steven came aboard and was immediately pushing in that direction. And thankfully, the movie really sort of led us to a nice way to bring it together. I don't think we're going to reveal much about what we're going to do, but for sure it's going to play a part in the next movie. It's too good, and the audience reaction has been really gratifying to that very small but very cool little beat.
By the way, everyone, don't spoil it. Like, I know, just in advance, keep it quiet till after at least the first weekend.
Yeah, does anybody have the thing in Men in Black? You know the thing that they use? Yeah.
Next question. Yes, right there.
Hi, this is Geoffrey from TVB Hong Kong, and this question is for Lorenzo. In the future, is it possible for Charlie Wesson to meet Noah and Elena?
Oh, shit. Wow. Well, listen, we actually for a moment had a scene where we brought Charlie in at the end, but again, it started feeling like we had too much. And it felt like we were trying to force it in there because she was great and she was great to work with. And, you know, I think it's too early to say what we would, but we'd love to have her back because she did a phenomenal job for us and she's such a great actress. And I think what would be interesting is she would be now an adult, right? So it would be a very different character in a way, what we could do with her. So I think that would be the interesting creative thing to discuss from our side is, okay, now what'd she do after she got to know Bumblebee so well? You know, did she go off and decide to become a scientist because of that experience? You know, does she work for Sector 7? Who knows? But I think we could pretty much go in a lot of new directions with her, and that's what's exciting.
Basically anything is possible.
Yeah.
Doors open for sure. You know, I love Haley's character, Charlie, so much. And it's like, if we do bring her back, it has to be right, you know? To your point, not forced.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. We'll see.
I had a question for Dominic real quick. Dominic, you're obviously this museum sort of researcher in the film. Were you ever pulling from other performances, other films to sort of get inspiration for this? Because it's kind of like a Robert Langdon vibe to it a little bit.
Oh, you know, no, actually, kind of just Anthony and I, before we read the script a bunch of times on FaceTime and things like that, and just was super excited to bring an authenticity that we naturally had because of the Brooklyn, because Steven really wanted to lean into it because of the swag, and I just, so we just kind of played with it.
Cool. Anthony.
Wait, before we finish, can I just, Dominique's script, yo, she journals. You know what I'm saying? She ain't just, she played with it, but like when I tell you she's like a student of the craft, I'm talking about like journals, a journal full of like notes of what her character's journey is gonna be, the beginning to end, every single beat. I'm talking about like she thought every single thing through. So I just wanted to give her that. I just wanted to, you know what I'm saying? She's amazing.
You could tell by the performance. You could definitely tell by the performance. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Anthony doesn't journal.
Come on.
I journal in my mind.
The boy's
Come
natural.
on.
In my mind.
Anthony, you know, as the lady from Manila mentioned, of course, with the introduction of the new IP, G.I. Joe, did you have an idea this was in the script from the beginning, or is this something that popped on kind of like midway?
I had no idea. No idea.
No one knew.
We didn't trust him.
We kept it a secret. We kept it a secret for a very long time. You guys are actually probably the first people that ever, like, this was dropped in, 2 weeks ago?
Not even. Like,
Not even. Like,
9
we
days
held
ago
this
or
scene
something.
so secretive to our chest that, like, no one knew. There was, like, basically a fake script and fake screening of us going around, so no one actually knew this information because we wanted to hold it close to the chest because we felt like we had a really special direction with it. So the actors didn't know. Michael Kelly came on. He didn't know till the day he was on set.
Yeah.
He read the lines. He came through with these things called sides, or like mini scripts of what you're about to work on today. And he looked at the script and saw what was said at the end. And he looked at me and was like, "Is this for real? Is this where he's going?" And I was like, "This is where we're going." And he was so ecstatic. But we kept it close because I felt like he shouldn't even know as a character. You know, like he's just riding along with the movie, literally. You know, with Mirage. So he didn't have to know, I guess, how it was going to come together.
Yeah. Right.
In between journaling, this is what we were talking about.
Yeah.
I have a question for Toby.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I've worked with a lot of musical artists who make the transition to this big screen. It's not always so easy the way you made it look easy.
Oh, wow.
You really did. And, you know, he's so entertaining and so much fun and brought so much life to this that Steven and I started figuring out, like, well, what else can we use Toby for? How do we put him in a little bit here and a little bit there? And I'm curious for you, you know, it's not necessarily a natural transition. So why was it so natural for you?
I feel like it might have been a little bit more natural for me just because a couple things. I grew up with Nigerian parents who like every single day is like a scene from a movie. It's a scene from a movie, to say the least. And then I think just playing sports, playing football, I've learned to perform in front of thousands, and I felt like acting was way easier than being on a football field and not getting extremely embarrassed by getting ran over by somebody, getting like, you know what I'm saying, dropped or concussed or something like that. So I think I just learned to like hold my own in front of thousands, and I was like, oh, I don't really have no fear. And then growing up in A-Leaf, like I had to master how to maneuver through society being African in the African American society. I was an African booty scratcher for a lot of my earlier years. Y'all don't really know about that in Singapore. Yeah, y'all don't expect, y'all don't have to face that kind of torture as a child. But once I learned how to like tell jokes, cap jokes, and like perform, entertain, and like know how to like, you know what I'm saying, sustain myself in society. I didn't have a lot of fear of most things, and I think that's what a lot of the acting is, mostly getting over the fear of whatever. Well, y'all would know. Y'all are like, you know what I'm saying, extremely good. Ant doesn't journal. You know what I'm saying? Dom does. They're very, very skilled at what it is that they do, and I just try to really like glean off of like, you know what I'm saying, how they did on set.
I'm looking forward to meeting your parents.
Oh, no, you're not. You're not.
Sorry,
probably for the first 20 minutes.
Hey, Lorenzo, I got a question for you here. Now, since you introduced, of course, the Maximals, the Terracons, the Predacons, what other aspect of the Transformers universe would you like to bring into next?
What's great about Transformers is there are so many characters, there are so many things, and actually the hard part is resisting putting all of it in, because what happens when you put all of it in, and we've definitely been guilty of that before, is nobody gets enough time. So I think what the process will be is trying to figure out, okay, now we have these Maximals, now we have our Transformers, now we have our human characters, what else can you actually juggle? So I think that you know, one of the things that is now the spirit of the tone of this franchise has always been, and Steven's brought his own mark to it, which is what has been great, is that there is a sense of reality, even though this thing is so crazy and extraordinary in certain ways. We've always tried to maintain that the world as we know it is as close as we can, and then these are the extraordinary things. So that's kind of what we got to do. So we don't know exactly what we're going to bring in next. But I know that what we're going to try to do is not repeat ourselves.
Yeah, sounds good. Steven, tap in on that for a second here. Of course, you've seen the other films and, of course, the animated series. When you were brought in as the director, what did you want to bring to Transformers? Did you say, I have not seen this done before on live action, but I want to bring this to the table? What was that?
Beyond the Beast Wars element, beyond the Maximals, for me, it was Unicron. I felt like he was teased a lot in the previous films, and I was like, I want to hear him speak. Like, how far can we go with Unicron? I understand why he was not necessarily ignored, but like it took time to unravel him because he's a huge planet that eats other planets. And it was like, how do we do that? But I, challenge accepted on this, and I really wanted to find that way. And, I feel like this is just the start of Unicron. In terms of that, the exosuit, that we're putting out there that somebody asked a question about and blurted out. Yeah, there you go. That was you. To that point of like where there's always humans there, how do they get involved within the battle and the fight? Again, I go back to the phrase, to all are one. And I just never saw, and they're one of the first to do it, Transformers. Like, go back and do the research. Like, Transformers in the exosuit was one of the first. And the fact that we can have a human actually transform now and like be a transformer has not been done since the cartoon 86 animation film. Yeah. And the question was, how do we do it? Yeah. How do we do it? That's why he was wearing that suit, because we didn't know how yet. We were still developing it while we were creating the movie. But yeah, those were the two major things. And of course, the ending that we've been kind of looping and talking about, and the direction of where the franchise can go. I have a few ideas, and there are a few characters I would love to bring back, but in our form too as well, G1 style. So.
Can you give us an idea of who you'd like to bring back into the play?
I mean, there's a major villain that we all know and love. We've seen him in other films, and I'm curious of where he's at. That's one thing. And then the other is one big thing for me was we're here on Earth a lot, right? And I feel like there's just a huge universe. Like if any of you guys watched the comic books or read the comic books, especially the Japanese versions of the comic books, where I truly think are probably one of the best versions of the comic books. There's a big world out there. There's different planets out there, and we tapped into that at the very beginning of this film. And I was like, I just want to introduce the idea that there's so much more to explore. The universe is huge. So,
awesome. Anthony, when you obviously shooting something like this, and a lot of it's CGI, and you're not used to see, you're just kind of playing make believe a lot on set. But when you got to see the final film, what was the one thing that surprised you the most?
I've not watched the movie.
No?
I've not watched the film. So y'all have seen the movie. So you're just giving things away while you're asking.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I second that. I also have not watched the movie. Yeah, so all the questions about all the extra stuff that, we don't want to hear that.
I don't remember what the script is about. It's been so long.
Yeah, and I purposely didn't read everybody else's, everything outside of my part in the script because I wanted to go to the movies like everybody else and be extremely surprised. Yeah, so now I know two things that's in the movie for sure.
Did you know we killed you?
Hey, well, I slightly believe it. I said, whoa!
That was good.
That's funny.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to watch the movie in New York with my family.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's when I'm going to watch it with my friends and my family.
Fantastic.
Yeah, fret not. I'm going to watch it in Singapore with y'all.
Yes.
Come on, yeah. Come on.
Tomorrow night, Sands Theater. It's going to be glorious. Any last questions here for the... Yes.
That was good. Oh, that was funny as hell.
Right,
That was savage.
Hi. I'm Yen from Zaobao, Singapore. So let's steer back to safety grounds. So no more spoilers. Dominic, my question for you: journals, the many journals that you wrote. Did you really send them to Stephen at 2 a.m. in the morning? And then how easy was it to discuss things with the director?
Yeah. So I didn't send him at 2 in the morning. I was trying to spare Stephen because he's so busy with so many different things. It wasn't the journal so much as I just kind of put bullet points so that sometimes when I journal, I like to create worlds that's not there and experiences not there, and we don't have a lot of time to read my analogies and things like that. So I try to bullet point them and send them to Stephen, and then he let me have like 2 meetings with some of the writers. And then it was one time on set that I just had this idea for Elena, and I knew that we didn't really have a lot of time, but I thought it was really important to her arc. I think she starts off being really like all in her books and wanting to be more courageous, but I don't think she's as courageous. And then she gets that calling over her life and she decides to take it. And so how do we show that she was not as brave before and then she became brave just by being with the Autobots and being with Noah? And then we like talked about it, and I remember like, I don't want to waste time. And Anthony's like, no, if you have something to say, we should say it. And then we all just kind of sat around brainstorming, even though like time is of the essence and things. So I'm really anxious about that. I don't want to waste the time, but they were very, very supportive just to let me be heard and allow my feelings to be there for Elena. So that was really special to me.
Wasn't exactly at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was like 1:59.
1:59.
It was like 1:59. But I would say Dom asked the right questions. We're dealing with a storyline we're talking transwarp key, universe, the whole 9, like other planets. And we're all getting caught up in where's Optimus Prime standing, et cetera, in his arc. It helps, and this is why Dom is so special, to ask the really detailed questions about the characters to help bring them about, in this world. And that's a lot of the journaling was that, a lot of the right questions, so that way Elena is present, and not only present, has an arc, to your point.
And I really believe in no matter the genre, like really respecting the character and respecting the audience and the audience intelligence. Right? So I'm going to ask the questions because I don't want the audience to be like, well, why would you do that? I want y'all to feel like, oh, I get why this person would do that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right. With that, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up today's press conference. Big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, Director Stephen Capel Jr., Anthony Ramos, Dominic Fishback, Toby Enwigwe, and producer Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. Thank you guys so much. We will see you tomorrow at the Art Science Museum for the red carpet and, of course, the global premiere of Transformers Rise of the Beast at Sands Theater, Marina Bay Sands. Don't worry, we only have like about 50 people from Paramount here. Don't worry about it. No pressure. I'm joking. Why? Wow, look at you. Beast Wars for life. How about that? And also they brought in Unicron too, which is pretty badass, right? Yes, exactly. Okay. All right, guys. Kick back, relax, and we'll start things in a few minutes' time. Thank you so much.
Rise of the Rise of the Beast. All right. Are you guys ready? Transformers, Rise of the Beast. Press conference here. Now here's some housekeeping notes. Of course, we're going to ask you to raise your hand if you have a question. We're going to bring a mic to you. Say your media agency or outlet that you're with before you ask the question. And then just keep Transformers. So ladies and gentlemen, let's kick things off with Transformers, Rise of the Beast.
You want it? Come and get it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our director, Stephen Capel Jr., the cast, Anthony Ramos, Dominic Fishback, Toby Enrique, and producer, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. What's up, guys? Welcome to Singapore. How are you? Anthony, how are you? Dominique? Toby, how are you, my friend? Good, how are you doing? And Lorenzo. Hello, sir, how are you? Okay, so, how you guys liking Singapore thus far?
Woo, it's amazing. Oh, sorry.
We love it. Immaculate.
Yeah, indeed.
It's great. I just got here.
You did this morning?
Yeah.
You saw the airport then?
Yes, from the airport.
It's pretty nice, right?
The airport's great.
It's great, right?
Yeah, it's like an amazing mall.
Yeah, I went on a tour. It was amazing. You guys' culture and everything here is beautiful. So yes, I love
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Let's get into some of the questions here because I know a lot of the media here from around the world have some questions for you guys because we're kicking the global tour right off here in Singapore. So Lorenzo, as the producer of the Transformers movies, what aspect of this latest installment are you most enthusiastic about?
Steven had a great vision for this movie, and thankfully, what's so great about the movie is it has a ton of heart, but it also has the spectacle that you want to expect from a big Transformers movie. So I'm really happy at people's reaction to the characters, because the characters are really fleshed out, and we got some great actors right here who really kill it.
Indeed, absolutely. All right, Steven. Now, being a passionate Transformers fan, what element of this movie excited you the most?
I think it was creating the Maximals and the Beast Wars, like having the ability. Oh yeah, thank you. We spent a lot of time on our designs, you know, and to be able to like leave a print in a franchise and say, okay, we're taking the Beast Wars, these Maximals that everyone loved, and now bringing them to live action for the first time. So really diving deep into their design, really diving deep into their personalities, and even, of course, their like ability and traits when they're fighting and their choreography. So that probably was my favorite part. And then we have a special guest, which is like Mirage, which I feel like is a real new stamp, and I was able to create something new with Mirage and his personality.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah. All right, Anthony. Now, we heard that you had a 2-week window to actually learn how to drive before the film. How was that like for a crash course?
No, I had a 2-week window to get my license, but I had been taking lessons for like a few months. But yeah, no, I went back to New York after we quarantined, and then for 14 days or whatever it was, right? So, and then we did a few rehearsals, and I went back to New York for like 2 weeks, and I was like, yo, I have this much time to try. So I got like the last appointment at the DMV in Brooklyn to get my license, and I passed in my mom's car. So shout out to my mom. Thanks.
All right, Mom.
I didn't drive once.
All right, Toby. Your song "On My Soul" is included into the movie's official soundtrack. Yes, indeed. It's an awesome song, man. Awesome. How does it feel to incorporate your music into your acting career?
It feels immaculate. It feels even more immaculate that I was able to do it